Do you remember how you discovered the free and open source software concept and movement?
Yeah, it's my wife. She wasn't my wife at the time. She had a university class. We were in the university together, and she had a university class that had a different speaker every week. And she came back and she said, "Hey, I had this weird speaker. Somebody named Richard Stallman was talking about free software. You ever heard of that?" I was like, "No, I never heard about that." And that was like '91. I was like, "Okay." So then a couple years later, I started using Linux at my job because we were using SCO, Unix, and Windows and stuff like that. And Linux just worked. It worked much better than SCO because Oracle finally worked on it. I built my own kernel on my machine at home and started messing around with it a little bit. But then I didn't start really doing it for real till a couple years later. I had a device. I got involved with USB. Funnily enough, I was trying to get my device. I was doing barcode scanners. So we had to emulate a keyboard. And USB keyboards and mice are really, really close to each other as far as the way the specification works. And so I plugged in my barcode scanner that I was running the firmware for, and it showed up as a 102 button mouse. It's like, no, that's not right. So it was actually my fault in the firmware, so I figured it out and fixed it, but then realized I could contribute to Linux. And I submitted a change, and they just took it, and I was like, "Hey, this is fun." And then I wrote it. My wife went away with my daughter for a weekend. She's like, "Why don't you write that driver you always been talking about?" So I did. I wrote a driver and submitted it, and then instantly it was like, "This is wrong. This is wrong." And oh, have you heard of multiprocessor stuff? It's like, "What's multiprocessors?" And I loved it. It was a good feedback loop. I was like, "Hey, this is going to make me be a better developer and better programmer," and my name's on it. So I fixed everything up. And funnily enough, the person who I asked, "How do I write a patch?" became my boss years and years later at SUSE. It's a small world. But I submitted my patch and got a driver in and started doing USB serial devices in the kernel. And then a few years, maybe a year after that, I realized more people were using the stuff I did for free than my day job, which I was getting paid for. And there was lots of Linux jobs available. And I took one in Portland, Oregon, working for a small startup doing security work, and been paid to do Linux work since '99, ever since.
So if I understand it correctly, you got more hands-on in touch with Linux through your work, but you were contributing at the beginning on your free time.
Yeah, exactly. I was doing it at work because I wanted to make sure my firmware worked with all operating systems. Funnily enough, the bug didn't show up under Windows, so it showed up as a keyboard and worked just fine. But if I plugged it into Linux, it showed up right. And because Linux was more strict on its USB configuration, Windows was more flexible at the time. And then, yeah, it was just more fun, to be honest. It was a fun thing to do. And it's that feedback loop that I hit that was just really good. I mean, it's just from an engineering point of view, I want to do good work and I want to learn how to do things better. And the chance to have other people review your code in a way is something I never had happen. At my jobs, people would kind of review other people's code, but as long as your stuff worked, everybody was happy. But like go down function by function and line by line saying, "Hey, this is wrong, and why don't you do this better?" To me, that was, I mean, there's a fun little dopamine hit, right? That's like, "Hey, oh yeah, I can do that better. I can do this better." And it became a better engineer because of that. And that's something everybody should want to achieve. It's fun.